don't tell Bob or Bernardo I said that story, okay? All right, everybody, welcome. Y'all can read Why Developers Don't Choose Drupal and What We Can Do About It. I'm JD, just some guy. So a year ago, we launched Drupal CMS. It was exciting. Last month, we launched CMS 2. It had Canvas, site profiles, really impressive. But why do students, developers starting their careers, and even veteran devs not choose Drupal? Why are we still just legacy tech? It's not because of me. A little bit about me. I'm JD, as I just said. I've been doing Drupal for over 11 years. I was a paramedic before I got into this. And you can find me on Twitch, streaming, twitch.tv/JDDoesDev. I'll take a couple minutes while you all follow me and sub and all that.
He's closing the door.
Oh. All right, a little bit more about me. I am not claiming to be a marketing professional. I don't have answers. I'm just a guy who has my feet in a couple different pools. I've noticed some things when looking at Drupal from the outside in. I'm not pretending to be a marketing pro or that, I really know what I'm talking about. I'm just someone who wants others to see Drupal in as positive a light as I do.
So what do you think about marketing Drupal?
Out. Yes, that's what I think. So I'm going to be asking you questions now. So first, who here started their career explicitly wanting to be a Drupal developer?
The beginning of the career?
Beginning of your developer career, did you say,
Which career is that?
I want a Drupal? Not a lot of hands for those of you listening at home.
Where I was like, this is what I want to do, though, but it wasn't.
It wasn't your purpose in life, wasn't?
Very beginning.
Yeah, same here. I just knew that I wanted to get off the ambulance, and I didn't know Drupal was a thing when I started learning. Question the second, when was the last time you chose Drupal for a personal hobby project? Just something fun. Last month?
2006.
Last year? Yeah. Not a lot of hands. And 2006, wow. So most people fell into Drupal. I'm sure you've heard that term before. Fell into Drupal, got hired someplace and they said, you're using Drupal if you want to work here. That's what happened to me. And I said, yes, I like money. Okay, I'll learn it. But again, most of you didn't raise your hands for personal hobby projects. Has anybody other than you done a personal project or something fun just using Drupal? Okay, a couple hands going up with that. But if we don't choose it for fun, if we don't choose it to do weird stuff with, why would somebody who doesn't know anything about Drupal, why would a student want to get into it? We're not choosing it right off the bat. Why would somebody else want to? And I think that's part of the pipeline problem. So this is a chart, and for some reason on my screen it's flashing, animating in over and over. But some fun statistics, and they weren't that small on my screen when I put this together. But in the entire internet, all the web, Drupal powers 1.1% of all sites. When you narrow it down to the top 100,000 by traffic, by volume, by size, 6.2%. And the top 10,000 sites, 7.3%. So what can we infer from this? Bigger sites use Drupal. Mike, did you have something else?
Yeah.
You did? Or
I was agreeing with you.
Bigger sites use Drupal because it's stable, it's secure, it's well known to them, and it's great for high traffic, high complexity sites.
You could also infer that bigger sites take a long time to shift to something different.
True. Now, the way I see it, there are two groups that decide whether or not Drupal is useful. Right now, we have the committee. These are the top 10,000, 100,000. We need enterprise security and governance. We need something stable. We need something tried and true. But there's also the individual. That's where we're missing. I want to build something cool. How can I use Drupal to do this? How can I build it out with this? The committee, they're the decision makers. They're the business leaders. They're the ones who factor in all of the things about Drupal being safe, Drupal being secure, it's enterprise ready, and it's free. That's a big deciding factor. But the individual, I consider the individual not necessarily an individual, but like the developer, the small agency trying to sell sites to get started, the marketer looking for a quick way to build a site out for a startup, something like that. The way that the individual sees it, Drupal's old. It's boring, doesn't excite me. And by the way, PHP is dead. How many of you have heard PHP is dead for the past? Yeah, a lot of hands going up. Since I started doing development in PHP, first thing that anybody told me was, "Oh, PHP, it's dead." That was 15 years ago. So it's a slow death. I feel sorry for it. I hope that it's not suffering. But I hear things like this on a regular basis. I'll talk more about that in a little bit. But what we have is the desire gap. So you can't see the small number. And the reason that the long line is 2.2, that's the number of respondents to the survey. I think it was a Stack Overflow survey 2025 in June. The number of developers who responded to that, who said that they used Drupal. So that's why that's the longest one. That's our 100% here. Of those, 33.7 admired. That means that only 33.7% of people who are using Drupal like using Drupal and want to continue to use Drupal. Now, the desired doesn't really fit with the other two, and you can't see the number because it's so small. 1.4%. That's developers who don't use Drupal who are interested in using Drupal. That's not a lot. I couldn't figure a good way to represent the numbers there, so I'm not trying to mislead or misdirect and be like, hey, look, 2.2 is huge. But we need to get that 1.4% up, and we need to tell the world we've done cool shit. CMS is awesome. We got AI agents. Canvas. Seriously, Canvas. Recipes. What else? Anything? Other innovations that we...
Site templates.
Site templates, yeah. We've grown. I mean, all right, I'm not going to make assumptions. Who here started before Drupal 4? Okay, Drupal 4. Couple. 5. Do I hear 6? 6. 6. 6. We got 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. 11. So for those of you listening at home, not a lot of hands went up after 8. Everybody was covered at 8. That's something right there. Nobody new was in this room. People have been using it since 8, which came out, 2015? 2016? And that's also, companies don't necessarily want to migrate up. I'm not saying everybody's been around for that long. So, whoa, that is really freaking bright. I didn't realize I was going to have a Jumbotron here. But for comparison, React. Those same surveys, desired, people who didn't use it, who want to use it, 30.7. People who are using it and still want to use it, 52. Node.js, 29.7, want to learn how to use it, 52, enjoy using it. That's a lot more than 1.4%. That's a lot more than 33%. Now comes the fun part. I may have mentioned that I stream on Twitch, and if you haven't followed me yet, you should do that, and like and sub, and smash that, follow, all that. But one of the nice things about it, it's helped me network with a lot of non-Drupal devs in all kinds of different technologies, web, game dev, application development, some people making their own operating systems. It's been a lot of fun to meet those people. And I decided, you know, it would be fun. Let's ask other devs what their opinion of Drupal is. And I made sure that every time I asked, I was clear. This is not a trap. I'm not trying to trick you into saying something. I want to know the honest truth. I want honest opinions. What do you think? Well, first one, not so bad. General sense is I dislike Drupal. The module system is annoying, and dependency hell can happen quickly. Okay, that's acceptable. Another one went straight for the heart. PHP is a garbage language for garbage people. This is from a .NET developer. PHP, Drupal, what year is it? Damn, Drupal, that's some old shit. And so these aren't meant to be discouraging to anybody here. They're meant to be a wake-up call. To new devs or to those who've only lived in JavaScript for their careers, we're invisible. This is their opinion of it. We're dead. We aren't worth considering. But why? The invisibility crisis. Where are developers learning? Where are they looking for tech? For developers who are just learning how to develop or learning new tech, 70.1%, and this is all coming from surveys. I didn't put the bibliography slide on. I didn't have time. I was finding memes. But I do have the statistics, and I have sources. All developers, 60.5%. They're using YouTube. Public GitHub repos. Developers who are learning, funny number, percent for learning. And all developers, just as a resource, 66.9%. That's a lot. Even on Twitch. 13.5% of developers learning look on Twitch. They look for video content. And all developers looking to expand, 8.9%. But you know where they aren't learning? Any guesses? It wasn't even on the chart. It wasn't even.
Well, if you wanted to learn about Drupal, you wouldn't go to Drupal.org anyway. You'd go to the former Drupal Stack Overflow because it's better.
That wasn't an answer. That wasn't a response either. Drupal answers, right?
Yeah.
So nobody is looking for Drupal except us. If we aren't in a place where people are looking to find new tech, we aren't going to be found. Modern discovery is creator-driven. We're missing from feeds where 60% of devs learn. YouTube, GitHub, Twitch. And we aren't where they are. We use GitLab, not GitHub. New developers, yes, you say I'm on GitLab. Oh, GitHub? No, GitLab. Right, is that GitHub? No. Mike, you had a question? Hand up.
We're all over YouTube. We got like tons of YouTube content though, but it's all sessions.
It's all sessions.
Is there something wrong with that, or like what?
60-minute sections.
What are they?
45. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Okay.
Are you familiar with brain rot?
What's that?
Brain rot?
Brain rot?
Yeah.
I forgot
Swiping
about
up. I'm sure. Exactly. Short memory or short attention span, short, go. So this is a new reality. Devs are looking for the 5-minute intro videos. If you aren't building in public, you don't exist. If you aren't making something cool, then it's not worth making. It's not worth seeing. But it's not just Drupal. Let's address the elephant in the room. So, people have thoughts about PHP as well. God damn, that is bright. Above the tip of the iceberg, this is what people see. This is what they think. It's old. PHP is slow. I dread using PHP. It's like WordPress in 2010. It's dead. But below the iceberg, what we know is actually happening, it powers 72.8% of the web. That's a big-ass number. 15,000 requests per second. That's a lot. Just-in-time compiling. Didn't have that in 5.4. Types. I'm excited by that stuff. So we need to stop apologizing for PHP and start bragging about everything it does. And now I have to go back through all this. It's a lot of good stuff. So if we fix the visibility, is everything going to be better? Survey says. That's because we don't pass the 15-minute test. It's hard to be judged in 15 minutes if you aren't visible. Once we're found, it's not really easy to see what we're offering. So I've got some screen grabs of Laravel, Statamic, and Drupal. So let's take a look at them. Laravel, right off the bat, I regret using bright mode or light mode. You see code snippets. You see the UI in Cloud and Forge. You see that right away. Statamic, above the fold, you see the UI. And if I'm mispronouncing it, maybe it's UI, but that was a bad joke. I really don't know how to pronounce Statamic or Statamic. And you don't even have to spin up anything. You go, it logs you in as David Hasselhoff, which is a dream of mine to be David Hasselhoff. And you get to play with a backend. And it tells you that you've got 30 minutes and it's going to disappear. And it has Back to the Future references. Us. It's not a bad looking site. But you go to try Drupal CMS, okay, another page. What do I do here? Try desktop app. Now I got to put in my username, or I got to sign up for all this stuff. I don't have a job position. I'm looking. I'm trying to learn development. Why? Drupal barely shows any of the backend. It doesn't show the author experience. Anybody looking for it isn't going to find it. Laravel shows the code and the UI, and Statamic shows it above the fold. And some of the developers I've talked to, some of the designers I talked to who actually do PHP, they love Laravel, and they just look at Drupal and say, no. One person said, this is unsexy. This is not something that I want to use. And they're the one who showed me Statamic and everything that they show right on the front page. But look at what we actually have. Everybody who was Drupal 6 and 7, remember install? Didn't look like this. This looks good. Site templates, not profiles, templates. Again, this is amazing. And then once you see what the dashboard looks like compared to 7, 8, 9, we're doing great things. Check it out. In Canvas, drag and drop, site, page builder, with components, everything right there. This is all great stuff. Come on. But why aren't we getting more users if we've got all this good stuff? Because the onboarding. And again, I'm not a marketer. A lot of this is my opinions, but it's also backed up by people that I've talked with who aren't necessarily in the Drupal community. It's not easy, it's not sexy, and it's not fun. Right now, based on what I've heard, the expectation is you watch a 30-second clip on YouTube, 30 to 60 seconds, and see how it works. That's the attention span of well, pretty much anybody these days. If a short goes over 60 seconds, on to the next one. I want to see a cat puking up rainbows. They want to be able to type npx create cool app. We kind of have this with Composer, but then you still have to make sure everything is going, that PHP is installed, that you have a database, because the new developers might not know that SQLite is a thing that you can use. They want to be able to build the hello world in 15 minutes. So Drupal CMS fixes this, but they don't know, the people who aren't using Drupal don't know it because they can't see it. There's a lot of trust me. There are some things that make it easier. DDev has great starter kits. Thank you. Right, you have to have Docker, you have to know that. It requires a user's knowledgeable enough to have Docker installed. Drupal Forge, is Darren in here or Celine? Drupal Forge is amazing. Has anybody used it? Familiar? A couple people. Yeah, if you want to try out Drupal, go to Drupal Forge and you can spin it up immediately. Exactly like what Statamic's homepage was doing, where you can try a demo. Boom. Push start, wait for it to spin up. I think it takes a couple minutes, and you've got a site you can install and play around with. It's brilliant. But it's not easy to find if you're not looking for it, because again, you have to search Drupal and Forge. So let's take a look at some other projects that maybe haven't had the strongest starts. And also, that text wasn't that small, but we're all winners in our own way. So Laravel. Anybody heard of Laravel? Aside from this, it wasn't popular a few years ago. Remember when it was, not the new hotness, Cake PHP, Laravel, they were kind of grouped together. They went from that to a 61% market share. They wanted to have code usability, cool marketing. Anybody know the tagline for Laravel?
Like artisanal code?
Yeah, for web artisans. I want to be a web artisan. Artisanal site. I can charge double for that. Result, 47.8% of developers admire it. Again, that's, okay, I'm going to misquote myself. Admire is they want to learn. It's something that they want to.
There's a bunch of people who use it who don't admire it.
Yeah. But it proved that you can make PHP cool. They didn't hide the language. They made it feel like a superpower. They put it right out there. And again, compare that Laravel homepage that I had a screen cap of, but I'm not going all the way back to that slide, to a generic enterprise page. One's going to be more attractive to the newer developer. Tailwind and Svelte. Tailwind grew because of live streams. I have my own thoughts on Tailwind, but there's no denying it's everywhere. It's a powerful thing, and it grew because Adam Wathan, or Wathan, how do I pronounce that? I've only read it. Because Adam streamed, and now, well, this data might be a little bit old. I think I wrote the slide before they did layoffs, but still, it's a much money business. Svelte, they went for delight over dominance. They went for the developer experience. They made it so developers wanted to say, hey, we need to use this. So Weird works. I may have mentioned I stream. Again, Twitch TV/JDDoesDev. Be sure to follow me. Like, subscribe, smash that hello button, tell a friend. Validate my existence. I'm lonely. Boring. Drupal runs 55% of government sites. Exciting. I used Drupal as a backend for my indie game, which I did. I made a Minesweeper clone that went to a conference, RSA Conf, and the back end of it, so that it became multiplayer, was built in Drupal, and I ran a leaderboard off of it that updated in real time so that people could try to win a prize at the end of the conference. Boring. Drupal is used by many colleges and universities. Check out how I automated my home using Drupal. That's something that's exciting. I haven't done that. Has anybody done anything like that? I remember closest thing I've seen is somebody did like an Alexa hooked up to Drupal, and even a big mouth Billy Bass, if anybody remembers that, hooked in through Drupal. But I'd watch that. I thought I got rid of this slide, but yeah, we're just gonna pass that one because I thought I got rid. But now that CMS is here, it's the easy button. We have the tech to pass a 15-minute test. We've got AI agents, they work. I think. I haven't actually tried. But it's not just buzzwords. I've heard good things. Mike isn't in here, well, other Mike, to redo his training. Recipes. You don't have to remember what to install, and you aren't locked into a profile like you were before. That in and of itself is freaking amazing. Canvas, again, browser-based. It's instant. Drupalisms don't excite. Before, entities, views, bundles, fields, paragraphs, nodes, content types. You say that to somebody who doesn't know Drupal, it's like trying to sell a car by showing a schematic of a transmission. So who would drive off in this? Change it up. Watch me build a landing page with AI in 3 minutes. That's the one that people want to hear. That's what people want to see. Now, there seems to be one, I wouldn't say enemy, but that another CMS that we feel like we're playing catch up to.
Just one.
Right now, WordPress has a 62.6% share, but developers are tired of security and plugin issues, and also the fact that the person who holds the keys to the code is currently in their villain arc, but that's a whole other story. That's where Drupal CMS can come in. Stability of enterprise, ease of SaaS. Because a lot of people that I talk to as well, anecdotally, say, if Drupal were easier to use, I wouldn't be using WordPress anymore. They just don't know. The people who are saying they're tired of WordPress, that's the strike zone. So I think that we're all responsible for this because we're all in the community. We all have, we're here at an event like this. We've got some pride in what we're doing, right? Anybody? There are nods. So they answered affirmative to that, people listening. Everybody's shaking their head. I heard Mike's rattling a little bit. So here are a couple things that you can do. Not that you have to do, but if you're looking for something quick to do, something to try and help out, make a 5-minute video. 5-minute, hey, check this out. Put it on YouTube, put it on TikTok. Hell, do a Drupal dance. Actually, if anybody wants, I will record somebody singing the Drupal song and put it up on TikTok.
I don't have our marketing to post it.
Exactly. Post on Reddit or dev.to, not on Drupal. If you got something cool on Medium, post anywhere, not a Drupal blog post, maybe cross-post it, but put it on places that developers are looking. Show a screenshot on Drupal.org. Stop saying trust me, stop holding the demo hostage. I think that this has actually been done recently, right? Didn't Dries put a blog post about he updated his site to all be LLM.txt. I don't know if any of new Drupal.org is doing that, but I do know one of the MCPs I use has really good documentation that's been able to read. But if not, maybe this is something that could go in the issue queue. Build something weird. Something fun. Anybody have any ideas? Something out of the ordinary. And if we do this, the algorithm changes. The perception changes because people will be like, oh, Drupal can do that? Holy shit. Right now, Drupal CMS, especially with the recent release, CMS 2, it's new news. We only have about a year before it becomes old news, and it's just another thing that came and went. So we need to, as a community, make noise about it. So, let's get loud. Any questions? Yeah.
So, I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this right. So, there's two audiences that you know I think that we're collectively losing, right? You know, there's us developers, you know, that expect some sort of learning curve to Drupal, and the learning curve is just getting steeper and steeper for what we've done for, you know, Drupal core.
Yeah.
Right.
That's fair.
And the other audience is non-developers. You know, people who just want a site, and who you didn't mention in your slides are things like Wix, things like Squarespace, who make it stupid simple. You know, I mean, like, yes, it's not nearly as powerful, but I think that's something that we've been losing out of fundamentally.
Yeah.
You know, and this has been going on for a long time, and I've been yelling and screaming the entire time.
I think Canvas is to me, it's the killer feature. If some of the things get worked out in it, Canvas is what's going to make the difference.
Well, right, but like, why did WordPress get such a big market share?
The big, easy install button. That's.
And then they had a hosted solution.
Yep.
That was free, I believe.
I don't know.
I think it used to be free, you know. But like, that was something that you could just do that one click install, which is what Drupal Forge does, sort of now.
Yeah, Drupal Forge is like ephemeral. I think you get an hour on it.
Yeah.
So let me.
But like with WordPress, you know, you would have your whatever.wordpress.org, you know, URL, and then you would just point your own domain at it, and you had a website like that. You know, whereas, you know, going back to, you know, like my early days, you know, like in like the 4.4 era, you know, you had to download it, and then you had to have, you know, like, you know, you had to load up the like the database schematic, and then you had to install the software, and, you know, like there's a lot of steps that, you know, the manual processes that we had to do. You know, and that we still have to do, and I think it's gotten even more difficult because it's now not only do you have to know PHP, you have to know, you know, Drush, you have to know, like Symfony, you have to know, like Composer, you have to know Ansible, you know, and we're just, and then where things are going, it's, and I've used this term a couple times, like, you know, in the past couple of days, but it's kind of masturbatory. You know, and like, and it's not, you know, and it's not actually helping us to make things simpler for, you know, Joe who owns a sandwich shop, you know, who doesn't care.
Right.
Right. So, I think that like that's something that we need to address.
So funny story. I'm taking on a side project that I wasn't going to bring it up, but you kind of said exactly what I'm trying to do here, and it's the Squarespace or Wix using Drupal. It's the, you know, based around Canvas, being able to spin up a site instantly, have everything there, have a site profile, or not profile, template for whatever, you know, one of maybe 6 or 7 templates that'll work, and, you know, have it all set. That's kind of something that I've been working on. I don't have anything like live to show, but I'm trying to compete with the Squarespace, the Wix. And the key thing to compete there is you own your data. Squarespace, Wix, you need to migrate off. Tough shit. And I think that's a huge selling point for Drupal. You own your data. It's open source. You're not locked in anywhere. All right, so that's enough.
Actually, I want to talk to you about that later.
That's enough shameless self-promotion there.
I think it's a very reasonable self-promotion.
There are other companies doing it too, or other people doing similar. And I think that, you know, I know Acquia's got their offering,
Yeah, but-
right? Yeah, but it's much more expensive than what I would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're targeting it different.
Yeah.
But we're working on something else. Maybe we'll talk about that later. We're working on some sort of own ramp so people can try it out.
Okay. Awesome. All right, and I saw other questions. Yeah. Well,
I
one of the things that I really love, excuse me, about Drupal CMS 2 is the fact that out of the box, the content architecture is, there basically isn't. Right? Whereas I feel like with one, they tried to be so opinionated as though they could anticipate what people wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I think it was that sort of like a Wix idea. But then that meant that it wasn't actually compatible with other things that are actually already in the Drupal ecosystem. So I love that with 2, I feel like the value of that, where we're going to see the payoff of that is really once we get the like site template marketplace.
Yeah.
So, you know, I hear what you're saying when you say we have like a year from when CMS 2 launches, but I also feel like to some degree we're almost in a waiting pattern until we actually go through
Yeah.
the site template and actually have site templates in there that people can go in and start to use.
I would agree with that. And anybody correct me, I think that the big push, marketing push of CMS2 is going to be right around DrupalCon, right? That's when, you know, it's all, look at what we've done, and, you know, out to the world. So the January was kind of, I'm assuming, like a soft rollout, a soft launch. But the real attention grab is going to be in March.
But isn't that still kind of like pushing to acquire though?
Potentially, I don't know what the DA has in store for marketing. All right, another question over there.
I just had a comment. But
Yeah.
I guess I was just thinking, you know, that reflecting back on Drupal in its kind of in its heyday, coincided with this boom of the web in general, of just, you know, the web was growing at the same time that Drupal was growing.
Mm-hmm.
And right now we're also at a place where we don't really know what the future of the web is going to be, because the way folks are consuming content is like changing day by day, moment by moment.
Oh yeah.
And I think a lot of organizations are being impacted by that, which is also impacting their decisions about what technologies to use to build their digital presence in whatever form that might be. You know, because if they are a content-driven organization of some kind, folks may never even end up on their website, but still be benefiting from their content.
Right, and that's where the.
So I think there's a hesitance just broadly of, and maybe some fatigue too of replatforming, because a lot of these organizations have been through several replatforms over the past 20 years.
Yeah, that's fair.
This process, and now it's like,
Well, there's two
now
things.
our content's getting consumed by AI, and that's how folks are finding out about it. Like, what are we even doing? I feel like there's this, everybody just kind of like soul searching, what is the web? You know?
Well, there's two things, or two ways to look at it too. I mean, you've got the brownfield, the either the retention part, where we want to keep users who are, whether than that 1.1, that 6.2, or that 7.3%, it doesn't really matter. We want to keep them using Drupal. We want to keep that number where it is at least, and not reduce it. There's also the greenfield, the new businesses, the startups, the things coming out that they need a website, they need something to build, and they want something quick. Yeah, Squarespace, Wix, Claude, build me a site.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be as powerful.
Base 44 is another one.
Yeah.
But when's the last time you saw a YouTube like video that was sponsored by Drupal?
Uh-huh.
Versus like, oh, like, you know, this video is sponsored by Squarespace.
Well, that's getting into making commercials and that. Like,
No.
so.
It's about like finding like the influencers who aren't necessarily, you know, developers.
Right.
You know, but they still have large audiences.
Yeah, getting people who wouldn't use Drupal ordinarily. I mean, maybe sponsored content for somebody who ordinarily does Laravel development or something like that, and say, hey, we want you to use Drupal and try it out and see. Positive is positive. Anyway, it's time now, because Mike is giving me an angry look. Yes, he wants a stage, and if I don't move within the next 30 seconds, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get speared right off of here. So, I'm going to press a button. Thank you, everybody, for coming to this. I appreciate it.